Well, we're watching BlackBerry stock sell off today, that in the wake of its quarterly earnings, despite posting double-digit sales growth. It was a response to an accounting change that saw the tech firm's software sales decline rather than grow. CEO John Chen wasn't watching the day of stock move closely, but he disagrees with the reaction.
I don't understand that. I think our total revenue numbers were higher than the street expected. Our auto software business, the BTS business, our QNX business grew 31% year over year. Our licensing business were great. Grew higher. It grew a lot year over year. The enterprise business have to go through a new accounting rules, the adoption, which is the so-called 606, and that lowered the number by some amount. But it's all, we're going to recapture it back in the future. So not exactly sure why people are reacting.
So maybe just to the headline, and they'll dig into it. On that change, you're moving from perpetual licenses to subscription. Just explain why that is important and whether it's good or bad for you.
Yeah, in the new accounting rules of the so-called ASC 606, if you have service that you provide with the license that you sold, in which case we do, because we have a secure network behind all the licenses we sold, you have to take it on so-called ratable. So you really can't go into the perpetual mode. Given that, we have decided not to offer any perpetual license to as a deal to a customer, and making sure that everybody goes to ratable. And this is the first transition period. It's a good thing because when you wash all that perpetual out over time, let's say the longest time will be 1 year. Once you do that, your recurring rates are very high, and it makes the business extremely predictable. When you make the business predictable, you get better margins, so you're going to get better profit as a result. So I'm looking forward to it actually, than being skeptical of the change.
So then let's talk about the parts of the business that you see the most growth. Obviously, you've been talking about QNX today and the fact that there is some enthusiasm around driverless cars. But what's really going to drive your revenue numbers in the quarters ahead?
QNX will continue to do double-digit growth year over year for the entire year. It's not just autonomous driven platform, and that's where you get all the news. Every time we win a design win on autonomous platform, everybody wants to talk about it. But the bulk of the business come from the today car, like the car that, the high-end Audi or Mercedes and BMWs, and those that we have embedded software in it. It's so-called the connected cars, the cars that have certain intelligence built in, telematics and infotainment. So those are where the bulk of the business comes from today.
And so what does drive your growth? There's obviously can be long lead times on the enterprise side. As you look out to capturing more business, where does it come? Is it interest in security? Is that the real thing that gets the attention of your customers?
Yeah, security is about where we are very strong in the enterprise business. Where we're very strong in is in so-called the regulated industry. Regulated groups are usually the banks, the financial companies, and as well as the government, law enforcement. So those are where we are very strong in, and those are entirely because of security and privacy. So that's where our system does the best.
There's still a small part of your business that services BlackBerry handheld devices. Will that go away? Will that go to zero? Will you stop doing that at some point?
Well, not stop doing it. I will continue to do it as long as I have customer out there. That number will decline rapidly. It will approach zero. It probably never get to zero. Maybe never is too strong a word. Maybe it'll take 5 years to get to zero. And unfortunately, it's now quite immaterial. It's quite small a number. But we'll continue to service our current customer.
So in terms of the BlackBerry licensed phones that are out there still being produced, your association with them obviously is third party. Will that continue? Because there's some risk to the brand and the reputation, of course, by having a third party relationship.
Oh yeah, that's something that I watch very carefully. You pointed out just right. We provide software, the security software, as well as the operating systems to all these phones, and we don't allow them to change that. And how they go to the market and what they do in market is something that we really need to stay close and collaborative with. And otherwise, it will damage our brand. And so brand management is important in this case, and something that we take extremely seriously.
The company was scrutinized recently for your compensation pact, was approved by shareholders, of course, but just justify that for me. If it hits all its targets, $400 million is the number that's getting kicked around. It's an awful lot of money, John.
Yeah, in order to get the $400 million, Amanda, the stock has to reach $30 and stay there for at least a period of time. And if the stock reached $30, the company will worth $16.5 billion, which is at least 3 times in today, or three times today. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, I think it's quite fair that if I made the money, the shareholder will make a lot more money, and I think we make us very much aligned, and I feel this is a good plan.
Give me a timeline on that. Do you have I know the options are staged out at various levels. What's your kind of expectation of hitting 30?
That's a hard one to do. I mean, I said this is I would call it the upside. Let me answer it this way. I got 5 years to do it. The contract is for 5 years.
And can I ask you, obviously BlackBerry is a hugely important name in Canada and in the Waterloo region. As you continue this pivot, I know most of your business is still North America, but is your commitment to that region as strong as ever?
Yeah. Very much so. I just came out of an employee meeting, so town hall meeting. We talk about collaboration with all the universities around here. This is our engineering hub, and not only Waterloo, but Ottawa. All our car business and auto business that are embedded are in our side of Ottawa, and we have another big site in Mississauga. So this region is an extremely important region to ours, and we'll definitely continue to be very committed here.
I'm just curious, because you operate globally, but Canada, US, have you responded with systems around legalized pot? Are you worried about kind of what that does to your workforce and what you need to do to make sure it doesn't get out of control?
As long as it does not affect the professionalism of our work environment, we don't allow smoking anyway in our workplace. So, but it does have to make sure that it doesn't. It's almost like drinking. We obviously don't allow people come in and have a behavior that drank so much of a behavior that disrupt our workplace, and in any of the dimensions of safety and productivity and professionalism. So I'm sure that they're going to have to go to the same position.